In this video, we're gonna be covering 5 new and unique Google Ad strategies that will explode your sales for your e-commerce brand if applied correctly. Let's jump right into strategy number 1, which I like to call the 1-1-1 strategy or the triple win strategy. Basically, this strategy revolves around a number of campaigns you have running within your Google Ads account at any given time. And the first one refers to one standard shopping or performance max campaign, which as you can see here on my screen, this ad account follows at the moment. The second one within this triple one strategy refers to one search campaign. This could be a dynamic search campaign or just a search campaign based around collections. The third and final one is referring to branded search campaigns. And this exact strategy is displayed on this account right here. As you can see, we actually have 4 different campaigns running because all of these strategies I'm going over in this video, they can kind of expand onto their own narrowed strategy further, which is what I, by the way, recommend you do, because these, you should really be using it as a starting point or a point if you're not sure which way to go to scale the brand further. So with that in mind, this specific campaign has one branded search campaign, which is the one running at the very top. The second campaign, which is a dynamic search campaign, is one we recently started. And then the third and final campaign, which is the shopping campaign. Now, keep in mind, this could be a performance max campaign or a standard shopping campaign. In this case, we decided to go with standard shopping because performance max was not really working too well for this ad account. But the fourth campaign you see right here is actually a branded search campaign for a different country. But if we focus on these 3 campaigns right here, we can see they're bringing in bulk of the revenue so far. And the ad account, because of these 3 different campaigns and a combination of all of these ROASs combined, it's running at a 5.52x ROAS, which, you know, is what happens when you have a systemized approach like this, rather than what a lot of e-commerce store owners or CMOs do, which is just launching a bunch of different campaigns, putting a lot of budget, hoping something works. Unfortunately, that's not an ideal strategy in 2023 and onwards. But who is this strategy perfect for? What kind of e-commerce brand would work the best with a strategy like this? First of all, this is for e-commerce brand owners who want to handle ads on their own, don't want to invest in an ad agency or a media buyer or any of that stuff, and don't really have time to begin with to handle their ads. Which, by the way, if you're doing $40,000 or more per month in revenue, you need just a little bit of extra help scaling your e-commerce brand to the next level. Go onto my website at yourmarketing.com and book a free call with me to see how we can potentially work together and make that happen so you can have more creative and customized strategies rather than these basic ones. But that does not mean that just because this is basic, it's not gonna work. The second type of e-commerce brand that can benefit from this strategy is the one where they have less than 1,000 products, maybe less than 500 products or SKUs in total. The lesser, the better with this strategy. The third kind of brand is the one with lower budget. So if you look right here, our budgets are not the biggest ones in the world right now. The overall ad spend for the last 30 days is only $1,600. And the overall ad spend per day, if we look at it, it's supposed to be $150, but it's barely spending at that level at the moment. So perfect for those brands which have lower budgets, don't want to put too much money into Google Ads. Let's move on to the second strategy, which is called the 1-2-1 strategy. Now, this is where we get a little bit more advanced. The first one inside this 1-2-1 strategy is referring to the performance max campaign or a standard shopping campaign. As long as this portion of the 1-2-1 strategy is shopping, that's completely fine. And with performance max, it could be with assets or without. I personally prefer without assets, but it's entirely up to you how to approach it. The second portion of this strategy, which is the 2 in between the 2 ones, it's for 2 search campaigns. So one dynamic search campaign and then one cold traffic search campaign. This could be for a best-selling product, or this could be for just the collections in general. But it's important to have 2 different search campaigns in this strategy, and we'll go over an example very shortly. The final one is for the branded search campaign. So I have this brand new account pulled right here, which is also under my Google Ads agency, Your Marketing. This first campaign is the Performance Max campaign, which is enough for the first one within that strategy. As you can see, it's running at a decent budget of 200 Australian dollars per day and is getting a 6.37x ROAS, exactly what we want. the middle portion of the strategy, which is the 2 search campaigns, are these ones right here. So both of these have completely different kind of results so far. The first one, which is a dynamic search campaign, is getting a ROAS of a 5.11x, whereas the second search campaign, which is for one specific best-selling product within this brand, is getting a ROAS of 2.89. That's exactly why we want to have 2 different search campaigns with this approach, because in a lot of brands, you might notice that a dynamic search campaign doesn't work, or maybe for your brand, a normal search campaign doesn't work. If you have a higher budget, which this strategy is perfect for, then you can test both at the same time and get those results at a much faster pace. But in this case, both of these are working just fine. Both are decent results. The first one is a little bit better, so our budget and focus will go to this one right here versus the second one. But at the same time, this is telling us, because it's not such a bad return on ad spend, that maybe there can be more scale found by directly targeting individual collection pages or directly targeting individual product pages rather than just having one dynamic search campaign as a whole. So this is really where the strategy is very effective. And then of course, the third campaign to get all of this traffic back that's lost is through the branded search campaign, which surprisingly in this case is not doing the best compared to these other campaigns. And that's because you don't want to necessarily name your e-commerce website the name of the product or the name of the keyword a lot of people in your audience search for, which is unfortunately the case here. Hence why the ROAS for this specific campaign is actually much lower. But one-to-one strategy is basically perfect for those e-commerce brands with more than one collection on their website. So if you have subcategories, sub-collections, this is perfect for you. And also this is perfect for you if you have medium level budgets, meaning $100 a day or more. So as you can see right here, we have spent a bit more in the last 30 days, about 6,700 Australian dollars, which in the grand scheme of things is not the biggest, but this strategy is really working here for this e-commerce brand simply because it's a bit more narrowed than the first approach, and it opens up a lot of room for further expansion and further scale. This brings me to the third strategy on the list, which is again for more advanced levels, and it is the collection-based performance max or the search-based strategy. So in order to illustrate this, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go on over to this e-commerce brand, which is also under my Google Ads agency or marketing, to show you it in effect. So in total at the moment, we have 18 different campaigns running, and that's because all of these campaigns that are running, first of all, this is a fashion brand, so there's a lot of different collections, subcategories, so on and so forth. So it makes sense to have this strategy here. But basically this strategy, what you need to be doing is you need to be launching multiple Performance Max campaigns or standard shopping. And if you were to do Performance Max, I recommend without assets, because we really want to make things a bit more narrowed and not just waste our ad spend on random placements with random search campaigns / Performance Max in this case. So that's why if you want to have assets and all of that stuff, just launch a discovery or display campaign. But for this strategy, just have Performance Max campaigns with no assets for each collection. And as you guessed, just segregate all of these campaigns, these shopping campaigns, out based on each individual collection. So this first PMax campaign is based on around a specific collection within the brand, the second one as well, the fourth one as well, so on and so forth. Everything is segregated very properly and very beautifully, and as a result, we're able to kind of scale the campaigns which are getting a higher ROAS, like a 2.02x ROAS, 2.27x ROAS, 11x ROAS further, compared to the campaigns which are not doing the best and getting a ROAS of like a 1.9x. By the way, the break-even ROAS for this fashion brand is very small. That's why this is running very profitably for us. But that's the first portion of the strategy, is launching shopping campaigns. The second portion is launching cold search campaigns plus this dynamic search campaigns. In this case, we're gonna launch both because we wanna really broaden our approaches here. That's why, as you can see, we have multiple different search campaigns. Some are dynamic search, some are just branded search like this one right here, and then some are just based around a collection. Each one is gonna perform very separately here. Make sure there is no interference between each of these search campaigns to prevent bidding against yourself. But in addition to that, you want to be mixing that up with a good mix of YouTube campaigns, display campaigns, discovery campaigns, and so on and so forth, because this strategy really shines the most when you're getting a lot of data from different campaign types, and that's exactly what we're doing here. As you can see, we had a few display discovery campaigns going on at the moment, which have kind of been paused due to results and all of that stuff with them. So and keep in mind, display and discovery, they're not your best campaigns for profitability, but they do get a lot of good brand awareness. We have this YouTube campaign running, which we recently started. It's optimizing and getting better. But really having an advanced strategy like this lets you attack different campaign types, different placements all at once without really any interference, and while making sure every product, every potential keyword gets the kind of attention that it deserves. But this is perfect for brands with a lot of different collections, as I mentioned, and preferably with a lot of products as well. So if your brand has more than 1,000 products, more than 1,000 SKUs, this might be your go-to strategy. And this is good for you if you have a hefty budget of $250 to $500 per day. This is like the sweet spot where anything a bit less, it doesn't really make sense to have so many different campaigns, and anything a bit more, you can kind of go a little bit more advanced, which we'll be covering very shortly. But very straightforward approach. It's working for a lot of brands we're handling. But this brings me to the fourth strategy on the list, which is the Performance Max plus standard shopping campaign approach. This is a very kind of straightforward approach where you have a mixture of Performance Max campaigns as well as standard shopping campaigns. So you're not just relying on one given campaign type at any given time. So to illustrate that, I'm gonna take you inside this other ad account right here, which we're running ads on. And as you can see at the very top, there's a Performance Max campaign running at a $190 a day budget. And then the rest of these, pretty much almost all of them besides the one branded search campaign, are standard shopping campaigns. This strategy basically works in a very direct manner. You want to have a Performance Max campaign for best-selling products, and I recommend you do actually have two different Performance Max campaigns, not just one. In this case, we just have one. But you want to have a Performance Max campaign for the best-selling products and the products that are getting tested. So all of your products, I recommend you test with Performance Max. So two PMax campaign approach here, and then all of the other products which are not in any of those two PMax campaigns, you put inside a standard shopping campaign. I mostly have products in here which were doing well within the best-selling Performance Max campaign, but just recently they started to do bad, or maybe just all of the products within PMax campaign, where I'm testing different products. Some of them are just not performing for whatever reason. I segregate them out into these individual standard shopping campaigns, and as you can see, some of them actually start to get results. This one got a 10x ROAS, and so on and so forth. So that's why I really like to segregate it out along this PMax plus standard shopping approach. But bulk of your budget and bulk of your effort should be going towards PMax, where it's for the winning products, the best-selling products, and the products getting tested. And this strategy is perfect for those brands who may not necessarily have found the best possible results with Performance Max campaigns, or for just those brands with less than 500 products. It's really ideal for these brands if you don't have too much products to deal with. So because of that, you can focus more on those individual products which you do have, and then kind of segregate them out based on that given strategy, and have multiple different campaigns running at any given time. Because when you have a small number of products in general, then it's not going to be too difficult to actually have it segregated and actually give each campaign and each product the amount of attention it deserves. But this brings me to the final strategy on the list, which is kind of a more advanced strategy I recently came upon. It is also known as the Performance Max plus standard shopping campaign routes, but in this case, you go really crazy when it comes to Performance Max campaigns and standard shopping campaigns. For example, within one of these ad accounts which we're looking into under my Google Ads agency Euro Marketing, in the last 30 days they spent 124 grand to make back 1.1 million. It's actually 1 million only, not 1.1, because the conversion tracking is a bit messed up, and we're just about to start working with this brand. But in total, there's 441 different campaigns. Yes, 441 campaigns. And the way they're distributed is basically a lot of the Performance Max campaigns are actually based around different collections, based around the stock volume. So if there's little stock, if there's not little stock, it's also based around the bad performing products versus the good performing products. That's mostly the Performance Max. And then for those products which may have shown results in the past, or which may have just recently stopped doing so well, or those products which are doing well but you're not able to scale them further, you put inside standard shopping campaigns. That's basically the whole gist of this strategy. And with the standard shopping strategy, you divide it based on a given kind of similarity. So this is a furniture brand, hence why it's able to have so many different products. It has hundreds of thousands of products and SKUs, but every single product which has some kind of similarity, which falls into one of those categories I mentioned earlier, either it stopped getting results or it's getting results, but it recently just, for whatever reason, is not scaling to the next level, any of that stuff, or you can make your own, by the way. They put each of those individual products inside its own ad group within the standard shopping campaign. So as you can see, this one individual standard shopping campaign has over 2,700 different individual ad groups, and they're running these ad groups on target ROAS. Now, this does lead to a lot of external problems as well, such as a large portion of these products not even getting shown in to begin with, and the target ROAS not being ideal for every single product because this looks like it's a generalized number. But you want to kind of make this a bit more advanced, meaning have lesser number of products within the standard shopping campaign in general. So instead of having 3,000, have only like 50 or 100 or even 10. It's up to you and how many products you have. And with the target ROAS percentage, have something that has proven on your ad account. So if your account has been getting a target ROAS of around 500%, 400%, put this number for this metric right here instead of just generalizing it based around what you want. But this strategy really is ideal for brands of all sizes and budgets. Ideally, the higher budget, the better, because obviously you cannot do this with a low budget. It's also good for a brand that are looking to have a decent handle of all of the campaigns running within their ad account without going too crazy. So you can still individually control these products, still individually look into the target ROAS percentages, all of that stuff. But again, when you have a lot of SKUs, it becomes just a bit difficult, and that's when you might need to apply the other strategies. But this is also for brands with teams for advertising. So if you're a one-man team just trying to do everything yourself, save money, this is definitely not for you. But if you want to get to this level and you're already doing $40,000 or more per month in revenue, go on to my website at yourmarketing.com and book a free call with me to see how we can possibly work together and get you to these levels and more. But I want you to watch this video right here on how the Google Ads algorithm works. It's gonna open the realm for you when it comes to Google Ads, help you understand how the algorithm works so you can actually get it on your site and beat your competitors.